Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm James Bergstrom, your host and broker with Paramount Real Estate Group, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, this channel is all about real estate, and today is about bringing clarity to Washington's changing housing landscape. So whether you're a homeowner, investor, or just passionate about real estate, you're in the right place. In our last episode, we covered House Bill 1337, focusing on ADUs, housing flexibility, and today we're zooming in on another game changer for the development world, Senate Bill 5290. This is a powerful piece of legislation designed to streamline land use and development permit review timelines across Washington state. To help us break it all down, I'm so excited to welcome my guest, Alicia Adler, the Outreach and Communications Coordinator for Kitsap County Department of Community Development. Alicia's team is on the front lines of implementing this bill locally, and she's here to unpack what it really means for applicants, developers, and the broader community. Alicia, welcome to Paramount, and thank you for joining this conversation today.
Absolutely, thanks for having me, James.
Let's start with a quick overview. Can you explain in your words what Senate Bill 5290 is and why it's such a big deal for local governments like Kitsap County?
Absolutely. So Senate Bill 5290 actually amends the Local Project Review Act. That's RCW 36.7db for those of you who want to look it up. And so it now implements timelines associated with some land use and environmental permits, specifically land use and environmental. This is important for Kitsap County. Actually, it's important all the time, and different counties have different setups, and so their process through getting this set up and following through on 5290 may be different than it is for us. It's always important for us to be responsive to our community and our applicants, but under this we have reporting guidelines and timelines associated with it.
That's huge, especially for folks who've experienced long, uncertain timelines in the past.
Absolutely. I think we understand the importance. We've had conversations with developers about this along the way, and we've tried to find solutions. This is now the state has implemented these that we have to follow. We've been working on this and thinking about this for a while, though. 2023, we did some surveying, and we also hired a consultant to help us review our permit review process. Throughout 2024, we did a lot of listening, conversations, taking a look at our existing processes to determine what we can change, how we can make things more efficient. And so January 1st, 2025 is the implementation of Senate Bill 5290. We are currently under those timelines.
Let's get into the review deadlines. This bill outlines 3 specific permit types and associated timelines. Can you explain what those types are and how the county is meeting those timelines?
Absolutely, and it's not necessarily a specific permit type as you would consider a building or an environment or a land use. It's actually type as it's in code. And so a type 1 generally does not have any kind of public noticing, and that has a 65-day timeline. And then a type 2 will have public noticing involved with it, and that's 100-day, and that becomes more of a administrative conditional use permit. And I'll explain a little bit more about these in a second, but type 3 is one of the most comprehensive, and it involves a hearing examiner decision and public noticing, and those are 170 days. And so most of the stuff, as I mentioned, it is land use permits and environmental permits. It's not the building permits that you think about when you're going into construction. It's really about that stuff that happens prior to even getting that building permit.
This is so awesome. Now I know some people might think this applies to everything, but it's not for building permits, right?
Right, so at this time it's land use and environmental. If building becomes a part of it, that would be decided later on by the legislature or the Attorney General, but at this point it is land use and environmental permits that it applies to.
I thought it was so important to clarify that. Now Kitsap County's rolled out a new program to help with this transition called the PREP program. Can you tell us a little about what this is and how it's helping meet the SB 5290 mandates?
Absolutely. So PREP actually stands for, it's a lovely acronym we love our acronyms, for Permit Review Efficiency Plan. And so it was, as we got this consultant and we started working through the issues identified, we started to put it under this prep plan. So not all of the prep work is directly related to 5290, but one of the major things that we identified in the prep process is a cycle review called 2x6. So this means this is what's going to help us meet those timelines mentioned in 5290. It's 2 review cycles at 6 weeks each. And there's time in between to be able to speak to the reviewers and so that you're on the same page about what you're submitting, and we can get a successful permit within a reasonable time and predictable time.
Well, this sounds like real innovation if you ask me. And speaking of digital tools, tell us a little bit more about the prep report map. I've seen it, it's pretty slick.
Absolutely. So the prep report map we're very excited about. One of the things that was identified throughout surveys and conversation was understanding more about your property up front. So the prep report map allows you to do that. You're able to put in a parcel address, and then it zooms into the map and it provides you information such as, do you have critical areas present on your site? These, of course, would impact the development of the particular site. And it would also indicate that you have to possibly prepare additional reporting, which also can take time out of the application process and the process in general, right? You have to hire a professional to come and give you a geo report or to take a look at a wetland on the property. So knowing these things up front, we believe helps people prepare for the timeline and getting the application and kind of understanding what steps they need to take prior to beginning their application. One of the other great things about it is that you're also able to do some drawings on there. So if you're just thinking about potential, I don't know, maybe you're doing a garage on your parcel, you can draw it out using the tools available on the prep report map, print that out, meet with your developer designer or meet with our staff and show them what you're thinking about so that you're on the same page and you can begin to identify any issues, or again, being on the same page is very important, especially as you proceed so that you can proceed through your application quickly.
I love it. More transparency and less guesswork. But there's something I think our viewers should know. Senate Bill 5290 comes with a penalty if timelines aren't met: fee refunds. But Kitsap is exempt from that. Why is this?
So Kitsap is exempt because we have 3 out of 10 items that they have allowed in order to eliminate the penalty. And it shows that we are trying to meet those requirements. So one of them is having a special revenue fund, which we've actually had for many years, in order to ensure that the permit dollars are being used wisely. We also have a third party that we can bring in if there happens to be additional work. So we have contracted with third party contractors who help us review. And then the third is not requiring a pre-application meeting in the process.
This is incredible. That kind of forward thinking is exactly what we need more of across the state. You also did a ton of community outreach before these changes went live. Can you talk a little about what that process looked like?
So as I mentioned, we started this process in 2023. In the fall of 2023, we had a community survey that went out that was asking about our permit review and the inefficiencies. And so we began gathering information then. It was open for about approximately 3 months of survey, and we got quite a bit of data from that. Then in December of 2023, we hired our consultant for the prep process, what is now known as prep. And he also worked with several people and staff to gather information about the current process, as well as to hear what people said, what their ideas were. And so that's how we began to use the prep information or develop the prep tools and guidance that we have now. So we took this information that we gathered from the survey and we used that to start building our tools. Some of them I've mentioned, that came through the consultant, the 2x6. Some of them are other things like the prep report map. And then there's also what we call the submittal success guide. So one of the things we noted is that it's also a delay for us if the applications are not coming in thorough, right? They don't have enough information or they're not following guidelines. So in order to help people do that, we've created a submittal success guide. And we just reinforced those submittal success requirements May 1st. So that's fairly new in implementing them back in. And what we're doing actually on May 29th is we're going to have a lunch webinar to go through those with people. So what we really want is people to come in with complete, thorough applications that meet all the requirements. Again, easier for us on our end to review, and again, hopes to promote success with the applicant as well. In addition, we've updated our website to include the tools that I mentioned, and other tools that we have created are what we call an intake checklist. The intake checklist allows people to review what kind of permit they're going to have, and then it's like a matrix of documents that they're going to need to submit along with it. Our application software does a great job of this, but this intake checklist is a little more thorough. So we've got several tools available on our site, and we hope that people begin to use those to bring good, full applications to us.
So here's the big takeaway. SB 5290 is not just about red tape. It's about building housing, supporting economic development, and delivering predictability. And for those watching who are developers, property owners, or even just curious citizens, what's the best way to stay updated or get support with a permit?
So you can get in contact with us at Community Development anytime at kcowa.us/DCD. That goes directly to our website. And you can find out information on the What's New category under PREP. We have that listed there, so we update that quite often. You can get to our Permit Pathways page under Permit off the home page as well, and that will give you all of those resources that I talked about. But my best recommendation is to sign up for our Community Development newsletter. That is where we give all our updates. We'll send it out to your email, or you can get text notified that we have information out. I believe that's the best and quickest way to get information from us. And as always, you're welcome to set up an appointment to meet with staff. If you have any questions about these tools or the process, we're happy to help.
Alicia, thank you so much for your time and your insight. I think this has been a very incredible and powerful conversation. I learned so much, and I hope you all did out there too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. We really enjoy getting our information out to the public and appreciate that you're sharing this information. It's important for us, for people to know the work that we're putting in to make these things more efficient and helpful for applicants.
If you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode. And hey, if there's a permitting topic or state housing bill you want us to tackle next, drop it in the comments. Until next time, I'm James Bergstrom with Paramount Real Estate Group, and this has been your Inside Scoop on Senate Bill 5290. Let's build smarter, faster, and better together.